So, can one create a portfolio of small business equity with little investments in a bunch of businesses all over the place? Hey there, everyone. My name is David C. Barnett, and welcome to Small Business and Deal Making. In this program, we discuss buying, selling, and growing small and medium sized businesses while managing risk. So, if you're looking for freedom and want to be your own boss without starting something new, or if you already own a business and you're looking to grow, expand, or get ready to exit one day, then you've come to the right place for some information and some opinions that hopefully will make you think. I got a comment from a viewer who was watching a video I did a few months ago called Shark Tank Investors versus Your Mom. We'll get that to, tag that here on the screen. Or the link will be down below in the show notes. And this is what the comment says. It's from someone who goes by the handle indefinite currency. I wanted to ask a question about how do I invest in equity in multiple small businesses? I need to talk to a local attorney first, correct? So let's talk about the attorney first. So attorneys, lawyers, depending on where you are, solicitors sometimes, what they do is they put things on paper. So they create contracts, agreements, help you navigate processes created by governments, like for transferring land, buying a house, that kind of thing. And if somebody breaks a contract, then they can help you with a justice solution, going to court or what have you. And so if you were to show up at a lawyer's office with a bunch of money saying, I want to invest in small businesses, they would go, great. What business are you investing in? What are the terms of your deal? So you need to find the investment first before you then go and get the paperwork put together by an attorney. And they're going to advise you about different risks and things that they see in that deal that you're working on. Okay. But let's backtrack a little bit and let's tackle this whole concept of buying equity in multiple different businesses. Now, I've talked about being minority equity investor in a small business many times before. In fact, there's a whole section in this book, Invest Local, about why you don't want to do it. Unless you are able to exert some sort of control over the management of the business, you don't want to be invested in the business's equity, just because in the world of small business, the value of that equity is completely tied to the decisions being made every day by the person who is making the decisions. Maybe that's the majority owner or some other person, in the case of many investors or what have you. And so just a couple weeks ago, I had Andrew Stotts on a live cast, 6 Guaranteed Ways to Lose All Your Money. And he talked about how one of the things that he's seen repeatedly are people that make investments and then don't stay on top of them. So if you were going to make an investment in a business's equity, you would want to have like a regular meeting about what was going on. In Andrew's example, he is part owner of a coffee business with his friend Dale. They meet every week to talk about what's going on in the business. So Andrew is totally on top of what's going on in that business. He knows what's going on. He knows what the challenges are, etc. If you had a portfolio of many of these such investments, it would be really hard for you to be keeping on top of them all. I can see where the idea comes from, because if you talk about publicly traded companies, people will talk about investing in a portfolio of stocks, with the idea being that you have non-correlated investments that are going to behave differently. So if one sector goes down, another sector goes up. In general, overall, your portfolio does better and is safer than if you just invested in one stock, right? So I get that. It makes sense. Here's the difference, though. Small companies are illiquid. You can't, just decide one day to sell the shares or to change your portfolio. And the decision-making of whoever's managing the business has a huge impact. And I'll give the same example I give every time. The owner of a business could decide to have the business pay for a luxury auto lease, and that reduces the profit, and now there's nothing left to pay dividends. And if you're a minority equity investor in that business and there aren't the proper controls in place that allow you to have power to prevent that from happening, well, then, the value of the shares is down, the value of the equity is down because the cash flow is being consumed by a car lease, right? So all kinds of bad things that can happen. I've known just a handful of people who have been able to successfully invest in many small businesses, and it all comes down to control. They find someone to be the managing partner, and that person has equity in the business, but the investor usually has some way of ultimately controlling what's going on in the business, and they watch them like a hawk. They have regular meetings with them. So don't get the idea that putting 10 grand here and 10 grand here and 10 grand here is going to be any way for you to have some sort of passive investment portfolio in small businesses. It's not. You're going to have to be very active. Just like over at a mutual fund company, the people that are taking care of your money over there, they're spending a lot of time looking at what's going on in the different businesses they've invested in. You're just going to take on that role yourself in looking directly at the businesses you've invested in. And if you're looking for something that's more passive, forget about the small businesses equity. Create debt arrangements or leasing arrangements. And if you want to learn how to do that, get a copy of Invest Local. It's like $15 on Amazon, paperback, $10 on Kindle, and the audiobook, I don't even know. But easy. That book will show you how. And for any of you guys out there who are interested in learning more about this kind of stuff, you should sign up for my email list, which you can find over at davidcbarnettlist.com. You check off which categories you're interested in. I send out emails every day, including one once a week with a new video. So if you want to make sure you never miss the latest video, subscribe to the email list, choose the topics that interest you, and we'll talk to you later. Cheers.